Hello?
What up? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hello.
What's going on, Alex?
Not a whole hell of a lot.
You out singing in the rain?
Yeah, for a little while. Until I throw up my back.
Word. Fucking, I'm trying nicotine patches to quit smoking. They make me sweat a lot, and I've actually sweat most of the adhesive off of this patch here that I have on.
Oh, shit. I mean, I've never done the patch, so I can't say I know what it feels like.
Do you smoke?
Very occasionally, if I'm drinking, you know me, I'll just have a drag. I won't even take a whole cigarette.
That's right. Yeah.
People try offering me a whole cigarette, and I'm like, no, thank you. I don't want to waste it. I'm kind of makes me feel like a moochy douchebag asshole just bumming a drag off of someone.
Oh, you can always bum a drag off me.
Thank you, Dilly.
I like you, Alex.
I like you too.
Word. Well, that's good that we like each other. Would you fight for me? This is what we were talking about when I was testing to see how much the air conditioner affects the sound quality. Which the answer is a lot.
Yeah.
Which I shouldn't... I mean, it's obvious. How many podcasts do you listen to where they're like, oh, we can just leave the air conditioner on, that's fine. But
I feel like you'd have to have some heavy set equipment to do that and, talk directly into it, but yeah.
Some heavy set equipment? You'd have to have some equipment that needed to lose a few pounds?
Yeah.
But, yeah, if I got in a fight with someone, would you back me up?
I would. I'd at least get them off you.
Have you ever been in a fight?
Not really.
What's not really mean? What's the closest you've come?
Face-to-face words. Maybe a push. That's about it.
Yeah. I bet people don't want to fuck with you because you're so fucking tall.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever told you should try...
Maybe if I get in a fight and they punch me out, I can say my face wasn't like this before. And then they'll have to pay for plastic surgery.
Is that your dream?
One of them.
You should start picking fights.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying you should start picking fights.
That's the main reason why I don't fight is because now, you have all sorts of lawsuits and shit like that. And I feel like I'd be the one to not stop. I just grab, if I was in a bar, I just, grab a glass and slam it over the guy's head.
That's one of my favorite, British street jokes, I guess, or street jokes about England or Britain.
Yeah.
Is England is the only place where glass is a verb.
Oh.
Because that's what they call it when they smash you in the face with a glass in a pub. They call it glassing someone.
Makes sense, yeah.
And if you give someone a Joker smile, in fact, I bet that's where they got the idea for the Heath Ledger makeup. But to cut someone's mouth like that, ear to ear, so to speak, is called a Glasgow grin. Oh, that's actually Scottish. Glasgow. And headbutting someone in the lips and nose is a Glasgow kiss. And that's all I know about fighting. I don't know. I have a boxing tattoo, but I've never boxed. I would never get it nowadays. I really want to get it changed a little bit, but I have I feel ambivalent about correcting tattoos on a certain level.
Yeah. I feel like if it was back in the day, like, fights were much different as opposed to now. Back then it was take it outside, and now it's like if you take it outside, they'll know you both came from that bar, and then the big headline is like, oh yeah, bar down the street, 2 people who got in a fight, and it, like, stigmatizes it almost.
It's not just a contest between men anymore, certainly.
Yeah.
Very few. It used to be that was how you settled disputes. You would fight.
Yeah.
Now that's the beginning of further disputes.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So you've never been in a fight?
No.
That's crazy to me on a certain level. Not even... What about in school? You never, like, in a fight in school or anything? What's the closest you've come?
Just, like, face-to-face, maybe a push or something like that. Grab someone by their backpack.
And that was it. So when you were talking about the closest you had come to a fight before, were you talking about at school?
A couple times, but yeah, mostly at school. Not really now.
Were you bullied at all?
I mean, just the normal stuff. I think everyone goes through bullying at some point.
I'm going through it now sometimes.
Sometimes?
I feel bullied.
Do you feel bullied right now?
Are you saying, do I feel like you're bullying me? Because I feel very bullied by you, Alex.
I feel like you could also be bullied by yourself, too. Can you, like head games, like you're your own worst enemy sort of thing?
Yeah, but I don't know if I would classify that as bullying. That's more mental illness or anxiety. You know, there are other words that are more descriptive than bullying.
Yeah, and there's definitely different types, too. It's not like you think of bullying, you think of give me lunch money. But now, like, it's also just like friends can bully each other. Like, you can bully someone and not even know it.
What do you mean?
Oh, like, if you, like, alright, well, like, if you just, like, make, like, a joke, just, like, busting balls, and someone takes it too seriously, like, I feel like it's more of a school thing, to be honest, but, like, if you, like, I don't know, if you call a Mexican a beaner or something like that along those lines, you're trying to just bust balls and have fun, and the guy takes it the wrong way.
I almost feel like that goes beyond bullying. That's a full-blown hate crime at this point. That goes
into, like, snitching, I would say, like, more of a category.
What about snitching?
Like, I'd say more of a school setting where you're just kids busting balls and, like, one of the kids takes it too seriously.
There's no such thing as a tattletale anymore. Do you remember? I can remember, you know, there being bullying, but also I remember my teachers saying to me, don't be a tattletale. Don't just... Yeah. Okay, so that kid said ass. What's it really bothering anyone? I can remember teachers saying stuff like that to me. I don't think there's anything like that anymore. a tattletale. We're fucking the highest thing you can possibly be in a school nowadays is a tattletale, seemingly.
I think now it converted more to like a snitch. And a snitch could be like...
Well, tattletale is just a playground term for snitch.
Yeah. Like, if I call you a junkie faggot and Joe Schmo Blow takes it too seriously, and they're like, how could you say that about someone? Or
Which, if you called me a junkie faggot, you'd just be accurate. But... Yeah.
And then you might not take offense to it, but someone else might.
You call me a junkie faggot, and I don't care, but somebody else takes it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They take it upon themselves to stick up for me. Well, that's called being a good ally. If you don't know everything you need to know by that choice of word, ally, like we're fighting a fucking war here. You know?
Yeah.
But continue. I think you were...
Yeah. Bullies, tattletales, snitches. I mean, I definitely think there's like a whole totally different categories of bullying and snitching. Like, if someone stole something and you knew that person stole it, and then the person who got stolen from wants to know who stole it, why, they ask you who took it, would you rat them out? Said person.
Oh, I see what you mean. Item? Yeah, you snitch. Yeah.
I mean, I guess.
I wouldn't.
That could be a different category. Like, that can also go under bro code.
I was fucking dude. Goodfellas. Never rat on your friends and always keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
I'm not so good at the second one, I will readily admit. But
like George Carlin says,
that's good advice, right? What's that?
Like George Carlin said, never rat on family. I think also Joey Diaz brought that up too. Like, if your mom's a crack dealer, you're not gonna rat her out because you're living there.
Yeah, I mean, I actually watched a thing where he was talking about Tekashi 6ix9ine, actually. And yeah. Lee was like, is that even really true, like the no snitching thing? And I mean, it was him and George Perez. And George Perez was like, the thing is, like, in the streets today, and I'm sure that people will fucking say whatever they want about... I'm quoting someone. He's like, nobody actually wants to live under no snitching. Like, if somebody... That comes from a time when the police genuinely weren't helping the street. Like, and everything was handled... not that they are now, necessarily, but everything was handled in-house. Where... Because here's the thing. If fucking somebody robs you... and you can go beat them up. Like, I've been robbed, and I know the people who robbed me. You know why I don't go fuck them up? Because I'm afraid they're going to call the cops. So, it's fine and well to say, oh, no snitching, don't get the police involved. And I try to live by that. Like, I hate fucking calling the police for anything. But in a lot of cases, the same people who are like, don't get the police involved are the people who are committing crimes. And then if you try to do anything, as far as retribution, they will call the police.
Yeah. Well, Joey Diaz brought it up very correctly. The the definitional term of snitching is you made someone else a partner to whoever. You made your partner and you made a partnership to the police for said dispute, situation, etc.
Well, he was saying that we might have watched the same clip. He was talking about how any drug dealer or numbers runner worth their salt has a couple of cops in their pocket that they're paying off, and who,
when you're dealing with
basically the cops are snitching to them, and they might give the cops information on, a lower down dealer or whatever. Or he gives the example of, well, I'm selling, a kilo out of this place a night.
Moving $500,000 worth of heroin, $500,000 worth of meth. Yeah,
and there's somebody across the street who's moving small, but they've got big fancy cars and they're playing their music loud all night and shit. He said, in that case, we would tell the police, and hey, these people are dealing, and have them get busted. And I don't think they considered. I think the no snitching thing is like almost it sounds cool to say, and it's simple, and it's, easy to put in rap music and whatever, but the laws of the street seem to be more complicated, which should be obvious, I think.
They have changed. Yeah.
Well, I imagine there was a time when it was like things are settled. My understanding is if you're in a neighborhood and the police are only going to hurt you guys, they don't have anybody's best interest in mind. They're not trying to actually do any police work. They just want to fuck with you. You basically have to take policing into your own hands. And in an environment where policing is taken into the neighborhood's hands, where things are handled in-house, then it makes sense, okay, don't talk to the police, because they're just going to interfere with our established form of justice. But if the police are intertwined, which at this point they are, in any, drug ring in America, like Joey Diaz said, they all have cops in their pockets. It's kind of an obsolete and simple idea, I think. And I've never been involved in any major crime. I don't know. You know what I mean? But that's what it seems like. And I love how we got here just from talking about bullying.
Yes.
That's cool. That's a reason why I might need to have you back on, do more podcasts with you, is if we can go from bullying to the nature of snitching and the nature of policing.
We started on tattletale, and I definitely think there's a difference between tattletaling and snitching. Like, snitching is more...
No, but it's kind of, in a way, it's the same in a microcosm. You have children on a playground who, hypothetically, they want to handle things amongst themselves. If you push Jimmy down, Jimmy has the right to come back and hit you. And then it's even. But if Jimmy pushes you down, or you push Jimmy down, and Jimmy goes and tattles instead of coming back and hitting you, that's tattletaling. What he should do within that microcosm, within that environment, is come back and deal with it himself. You know, it all has to do with getting, you know, the law involved, with getting society involved in our little subculture or whatever, whether that be out on the playground or in an Italian neighborhood. You know, it's kind of it's a synecdoche.
Yeah.
You know, a small part represents the whole.
What about back in olden days?
It's a simulacrum.
When people have an argument, they'll settle it with a duel.
What about solving things with duels? I think we should bring that back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think people would fucking be a lot less likely to scream and yell and try to shout people down and fucking be all obnoxious like that. If, I mean, that was sort of Gavin McInnes, he really got in trouble because he told the Proud Boys to fight back against Antifa. And Antifa was made up of little fucking bitches that got their asses beat. And sort of, that goes back to what we were talking about. And then went and got the police involved. And society, you know, the media and everybody else involved. And they couldn't fucking walk the walk. They wanted to go and fucking smash shit and hit people and throw concrete milkshakes. And obviously this is bigger than Gavin McInnes. I don't want people to just focus on that little part. But, you know, they couldn't deal with it when people started beating their asses. If you're gonna fucking go and fuck with people, you should expect that you can get your ass beat. But that's not the way that things go these days. It's fucked up.
What about the ones that are one-sided? Where one wants to beat someone's ass and then the other one doesn't?
If someone doesn't want to fight, I don't think someone should fight them. But if someone wants to fight, or they want to do things that would ordinarily cause somebody to retaliate against them, they want to destroy property and steal and fuck shit up and, you know, scream and yell and do things that would normally cause them to get hit, then they don't have a right. They don't have a right to do shit. You don't have a right to do shit that any person would reasonably know would get you hit or hurt and then complain about it afterwards. You know what I mean? And fucking, if you're so against the government and against police, and if you're fucking so against police, why do you call them when you get hit? Shouldn't you be able to handle that on your own?
Yeah.
Oh, well, but you can't, so you call, I mean, the whole thing is fucking ridiculous. And I'm not a political scholar. I don't think I'm, you know, I know so little about this, but I think that even that in and of itself, I don't know shit about shit, and I can see, like, that's just a basic fact of nature. You know, should you go fucking, you go and try to smack a tiger in the face, people aren't going to feel that sorry for you when you get your fucking arm bitten off. On the other hand, the police force should not be a tiger to... No force should be a tiger when you're dealing with people. People should be people.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I know the analogies got screwy in there, but
Yeah, I feel ya. Well, like, look at, like, back to dueling. That was...
well, dueling is a great
That was-
way of evening the playing ground.
But when... There must have been a point where dueling was considered frowned upon.
Well, it's
where
today.
It stopped, but it was still going on.
I think that was
I
around
know
the
it's
time
more
of
of a Western
Alexander
thing.
Hamilton.
Yeah, Alexander Hamilton, he got shot by Aaron Burr.
It was considered kind of an outdated practice by then already, I think.
Yeah. But there were also the cases where, you know, a regular duel, you'd be back-to-back, you step out 10 feet, turn around, 1, 2, 3, and you go. But there are a lot of people who would fire at 2 just to get an advantage, or fire at 1, and then it's not necessarily a fair fight.
Well, and under the... That's not a duel anymore. That's murder. That person would be... I mean, that would be murder.
Yeah, or maybe if the guy has a posse, all his boys be out, and if he tries to pull some shit like that, he dies.
And that's another thing, is you would bring a second and a third. So yes, you're right. If that happened, you would most likely be shot. There are very few accounts of anything like that happening during a duel. Certainly among the gentry, which is most of the accounts that we have.
Yeah, I gotcha.
That was relatively rare. There was a thing where you would fire in the air, and the other when you did that, the other person was expected to also fire in the air, and it was a way for everybody to save face and not, you know, no one to die. But there were instances, like in the case of, Alexander Hamilton's son just didn't fire. He refused to fire. And then finally the other guy just shot him.
Yeah.
But there are definitely cases of that. And there was a specific, I forget what the name is, for just firing in the air and accepting your fate. And in that case, if the person chose to shoot you, that was still considered fair in a duel, but it was considered very unsportsmanlike. That guy was not very gentlemanly to do that.
Yeah.
And you, like you said, you would put your pistol up on one, so it was very clear that that was what you intended to do, you know.
Yeah.
It also happens in the Count of Monte Cristo, I believe. At the end, the title character fires in the air so that he doesn't kill his lover's son. Dueling is much more complicated than it is in cartoons.
Yes.
I mean, basically everything is. But... and that's that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, there is an interesting case of a man being beaten with a cane on the cabinet floor or in his office, but I forget his name, and maybe we'll save that for another episode. I do like that history's come up, because when me and Glenn were still doing this together 100%, history and particularly like mythology would come up a lot in episodes. So
yeah,
you're carrying on that legacy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Alex, Why do you think you're better than Glenn? That you can just fucking take over his spot and take this
What?
What?
I don't think I'm better than anybody.
You don't think you're better than anybody?
No.
What about Mussolini?
He had his points.
You and him looked pretty similar after he got his head caved in.
Yeah, but you're also comparing apples to oranges.
Imagine if at the end of your life they cave your head in and you look like Ryan Gosling.
Yeah. Only thing is I'm not a fascist dictator.
Not yet.
Oh. Soon to be.
Imagine people look back at this podcast. It's like, this is where it all started. You take over fucking Indiana or something. What's up?
Back in the year 2021. Yeah.
If you could control, like, if you could completely take over one state, which state would it be?
Completely take over. I'd say either California or Texas. Maybe New York. I feel like New York would be easier to wrap around because it's not as big.
Which state was it?
I'd say between Texas, California, and New York.
Oh, well, those are the obvious ones. I was hoping you would... Which state besides those?
Actually, I think out of all those...
those are...
New York just because of the city. But if I have to choose another state...
Illinois, too, would be a good... You have a big city and you're right in the middle of things. Although it would be difficult to defend.
It's a fairly large state, too.
And you have a big built-up city area and a lot of farmland.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, New
go
York
on, I'm sorry.
The city, you have the suburbs, you have the villages, you have the farmland. Yeah.
Illinois would be a good... Illinois might be my choice, except, like I said, it would be really difficult to defend.
Yeah. I feel like low-key Wisconsin, too, but then you got to worry about the Canadians.
Do you?
Probably
Do you?
not.
Do you need to worry about the Canadians?
No.
They didn't even have a revolution to get their country. They just sort of waited for the 60s to happen.
So that's where...
basically true. I think that's... I need to hit up the History Buffs channel on that, but... Did you know that there basically wasn't a Canada until, like, the 60s?
I mean, the only Canadian thing I know before the 60s was hockey. Is that when they claimed their independence?
That was how they claimed their independence. They beat Britain in a hockey match, but there was a Canada. It just, it was part of the empire.
Yeah.
It's still considered part of the Commonwealth, I think. There's a name for, like, all of the previous territories of Britain. That's why they still have, like, British royalty on their coinage and stuff like that. And America is, like, strictly not part of it. Because we're independent, man.
Yeah.
We're the punk middle child.
Do your own
fuck
thing.
you, Mom.
Yeah.
America is... I think I represent America in a lot of ways. Because I broke from my parents very early. But I have a great relationship with my mom now that the wars are over.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So which state? Or Wisconsin? Is that your final pick?
Yeah, sure.
You don't think it would be cold? I would probably go for a southern state.
Well, you said Illinois.
Not all of Illinois is cold. And it's at least temperate. I mean, they have similar weather to us in a lot of ways.
I mean, I'd also choose Louisiana, but like, imagine overrunning
Louisiana's a good
Louisiana
one.
with, like,
That's a good choice.
When Katrina hit, you'd have a lot of shit on your plate.
Katrina wouldn't have hit. I remember when Katrina happened, my mom was like, fucking, who else would build a city directly under, like, in a seabed? Undersea, you know what I mean? Where you can look up and see ships. Nobody but the French.
Yep.
Fucking, New Orleans was hit particularly badly because they're basically in a hole.
Yeah.
Not saying that it wouldn't have been bad otherwise, but if you look at, like, New Orleans was hit bad because it was in a hole. Long Island was hit bad with Sandy because it's an island in a, not that I know so much about it, but you don't get a lot of hurricanes in interior Texas, so let's say.
Yeah.
Do hurricanes come off the Great Lakes?
No, they mostly come off the coast. They come off of, they're formed out in the ocean, and then they come onto land. That's why it's mostly East Coast that gets hit with hurricanes. You see a lot in Florida.
Yeah, hurricanes don't even hit California much, right? Because
No,
the ocean's too big on that side.
Tsunamis out there.
What's that?
You have earthquakes and tsunamis out there.
Yes. Yeah.
And in the middle,
you got Pacific world
you have,
problems.
Yeah. You have tornadoes where it's flat.
You know what I should do?
What?
Do this episode, do one with John Tyler, do a couple with other people, and then have the subscribers vote on who they want the new second mic to be.
Yeah. Maybe there doesn't need to be a second mic. Maybe it can just be you and have multiple guests, and then you have regular guests.
Well, that was what's the dealio was gonna be. Which I kind of have to consider whether I'm gonna post this as a Lazy Susan's episode or this may end up as what's the dealio. Maybe number 1. But I don't know. I need to figure out this Lazy Susan's thing. But yeah, the what's the dealio was supposed to be just me and different guests. Lazy Susan's is me, Glenn, and then someone else, or just me and Glenn. Me and Glenn, and then a guest. So I need a second mic. I need to find.
Yeah.
I want to have one show that's where it's all me, but then I want to have one show where I'm filtered a little bit, where I'm diluted. Uncut Dylan is too much for a lot of people. Let's be honest.
Yeah. not everyone can handle it.
What are some of your favorite stories about me, Alex?
The time you were at a trap house and someone got stabbed with a screwdriver.
I was thinking more like, things that happen at clubs or whatever, but I guess that's a good one.
I just thought that story was real funny.
It wasn't that funny at the time.
It had a good punchline, though.
What was the punchline?
Well, the owner, two crackheads,
the
fighting with screwdrivers.
Phone that had that recording on it got stolen, I think. I'm sorry. I was just... The phone that had that story recorded on it got stolen, I believe. So you tell the story. Maybe I can start doing the joke again.
Yeah, well, it was these two crackheads were arguing, and they're crackheads. They have screwdrivers, and they start
Only one of them had a screwdriver.
Yeah, and kind of calling it back to the whole fighting thing, like why I don't fight, and if you two people have a history, but one has a screwdriver, obviously, and they're on something, obviously you're gonna see backlash. And guy gets stabbed with a screwdriver in a trap house. The owner comes in, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, what should we do? Should we call?" And the guy goes, "Well, we're not calling the cops. It takes a lot more than that for us to call them."
Word. Yeah.
It was
That is how. You're right.
No, the way you worded it.
So that was the punchline. Takes more than that.
The owner said, "Yeah." Takes a lot more
that
than
did
that
happen.
For us to call the cops. Like, you're in a fucking trap house.
It implies that there is something that could happen where they would call the cops.
Yeah, but someone getting stabbed with a screwdriver does not.
Wasn't enough. Didn't warrant it.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that guy, dude. He was crying and bleeding, and they made him leave. They just made him
Was he being an asshole?
He was just walking around No, he came in, and he was making a purchase or whatever. And there was this dude there that he always had this screwdriver. He used to carry the screwdriver in his belt. You know?
Yeah.
This dude comes in and he's smiling, he looks fine. And he's trying to buy something. And then this dude comes out and he's like, "Where's my fucking money? Where's my money?" He owed the guy I guess he had given him money to go grab a package for him or something, and he had just run off with it or some shit. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, he owed him money, and he just fucking slugged the guy a couple of times. So the guy's nose was bleeding, and his face was fucked up too. And then he took the screwdriver out, and he fucking... I don't know if it went in the guy or if he just... You know what I mean? I have to imagine if it went in him, that would... So I bet he's just, stabbed him with it. It might have gone in a little bit. I don't think he hit any organs or anything. But I bet he had a hell of a fucking, blood bruise.
Yeah.
And then this guy was crying, he had blood coming out of his nose, and he fucking runs out. And then I think we smoked his package.
Oh, so he even forgot the package.
I don't remember.
Money did he owe?
That I was pretty fucked up at that point in time, if you can't tell from the story.
Yeah.
That was... Fuck. That would have been like 2017, 2018, somewhere in there. 2019, maybe, like early 2019. When I was on my last bad run. And yeah, man, that was, you know, what's fucked up is like, I almost kind of forgot that. I almost kind of forgot that story until you just brought it up now. And now I can see it so vividly. I can see the guy's face. I remember him crying. Like a 42, fuck, he was probably in his 50s.
So,
dude, crying and fucking, he got hit with this screwdriver. I really wonder, like, how far could it have gone into him?
And how far could he have gone?
Yeah, 'cause it didn't seem like it was... It wasn't like somebody got shot or stabbed even, really.
Yeah.
It would... Except maybe those people would have... I never saw someone get stabbed, but maybe they would have acted the same way if someone had... I guess he did get stabbed. But in my mind, if this screwdriver was big. So in my mind, if a screwdriver went, like, into you... Well, he probably went to the fucking hospital. But... Shit, I don't know, dude. I don't know what the fuck. That was really fucked up, though. I think I told that story, like, the same night. Or the night after it happened. Because I was still kind of shaken up from it.
So...
And at the whole time, the dude who owned the house just kept on telling, like, all of us who were hanging out, like, just stay in the back room. It's cool. And I don't think they didn't call the cops, and I don't think the cops came.
No, the guy that with the screwdriver did he still stay afterwards?
Yeah, he sat down and he started smoking crack.
Nice.
Probably asked for someone to bum him a cigarette.
What I have is,
I probably bummed him a cigarette.
Yeah. So did this guy ask for it? You feel bad for this guy at all?
And afterwards, it's like, we can't leave. Like, we all gotta leave, like, 20 minutes apart. Because if there is a problem, you don't want 5 heads tumbling out all at once.
Yeah.
Like, when shit started, a few people ran out. And then the dude was like, no, stay back here, like... You know, because if you have 10 crackheads on the street, all of a sudden, that's like, oh, something's going on. So we all had to leave, like, one by one.
What order did you leave?
Dude, I honestly don't remember. I probably only left so that I could go do open mic. Even when I was on all that shit, I always would fucking be like, I gotta go do open mic.
Yeah.
There's definitely crackheads. All you guys, if you're listening to this, I hope you're happy. I hope you either are clean and healthy or you got a big fat rock. I hope you're all happy. And they weren't bad people. They were just, they had problems and they were addicted and shit, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, so they were really nice to me, honestly, though. You know, they wanted money and shit, but when I didn't have any money, I just hung out, waited for somebody else to, you know what I mean? It was all, like, the crack is different than dope. Because dope, you gotta have it. You gotta have it. So it's all about finding it and then getting yourself fixed, and then you're cool, and you can cool out for a little bit.
Yeah.
But then, when you're with smoking crack, when you're with crackheads, it's all about waiting. Somebody might show up. They might be generous. Somebody might show up. They'll, some white kid might come through and they'll buy a 40 bag. So we break half of that off and we'll smoke that and give them the 20.
Yeah.
It's just waiting. You spend 24 hours waiting for like 3 or 4 10-minute windows where you're actually happy. Crack is not... I was never big into cocaine. I had a little thing where I was into crack houses. Well, I used to hang out at crack houses when I was younger, too. But I didn't smoke crack. I was hanging out with the kids. When I was a kid. When I was like 14, 15. But my last run on dope, I used to hang out at crack houses sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't know. Those kind of people are real, dude. Like, on a certain level, I don't connect with people that aren't a little fucked up.
Yeah. That's definitely debatable.
You ever been to a crack house?
Once. My buddy was living there at the time, and I was going to scoop him up, and I just stayed there, and we just smoked a blunt. And then left. But I didn't, actually see what goes on, but I definitely could tell, yeah, this is definitely a trap house. Would you say there's a difference between a crack and a trap house?
Crack house is just a more specific kind of trap house.
Okay.
Meaning it's mostly crack. Although you can usually find dope at a crack house if you hang out,
Yeah, get to know people.
Crack house is the term of my childhood. And I think that's more what it is than anything. Like, that's what I grew up saying. It's a crack house. But I would say they are essentially the same thing.
Okay. Interesting.
Obviously, crack house, you're smoking crack. There might be trap houses where people aren't smoking crack, but I bet there's not many. I imagine if you're at a trap house, Trap house is just a place where people sell drugs. And people who do drugs and sell drugs hang out and, You're writing that down in your little fucking police handbook?
Yes.
Well, so I asked you if you ever been to a crack house. Have you ever been to a trap house?
I've been to a trap house.
That wasn't a crack house?
Not an actual crack house, but I have been to a trap house.
And that's the story you just told me?
Yeah.
Word. Yeah. I don't know.
Basically, the guy was...
I also haven't been out west or down south too much, so I bet there's places where people just do meth or whatever, but I don't know. If you're doing hard drugs, you're doing hard drugs. Like, I doubt there's many people who smoke meth and look down on dope heads, Although I've met a couple of people who were like, I just smoke crack. I only smoke crack. I don't touch that dope shit. So, like, and took that as a point of pride. So it does exist. I mean, and there's lots of people who are like, I only smoke weed and drink. So, you know, there's nothing new under the sun. Alex, you need to talk more. I talk too much as it is. You need to just shut me up sometimes.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Interrupt me. Fucking
Alright.
talk.
I just didn't want to have a whole lot more talking over, you know?
It's okay if I'm hogging the conversation. Just talk over me.
Okay.
And I'll stop because I don't like to feel like I'm talking too much or doing all the talking. And it's not about either of us, it's about the listeners.
Yes, it is.
Don't you think the listeners want to know what you have to say?
Absolutely.
I know you got lots of beautiful thoughts bubbling in that brain of yours.
Yeah.
Let them out. We're coming to the natural. We're almost an hour in. So the next half hour, this is your half hour, all right?
All right.
Give me some of them thoughts.
All right. Do you think that we would ever hit a time, if so when, where cops are robots?
Yes. And as soon as they can manage it.
Like ballpark.
But also, no. I think on a certain level, there will always be people who are against it, and there are legitimate reasons why there could be malfunctions. You've seen RoboCop.
Yeah.
Could be malfunctions. Part of being a police officer is using discretion.
There are a lot of people that don't want to be cops now, but there are still a lot of people where, you know, my dad was a cop, my grandfather was a cop, my brother was a cop, uncle, etc., etc. And I think it does have to do with the glitching part. Like, I truly do believe that even a robotic police officer can make a mistake. But what about the other officers that want to go in? They're shitting themselves right now. It's like being a pizza delivery driver. Now Domino's has its own self-driving car that delivers the pizza out to you. Why do we need to hire drivers now when we can just do that?
Do you come from a police family?
No. I have friends who come from police families.
And are they worried that their job is going to get replaced by RoboCops?
I don't know if replaced by RoboCops is the word, but they're definitely worried.
About robotic police officers?
That and how hard it is being... It's not so much that, it's how hard it is being a cop now. With everything going on.
Well, it definitely seems like it's fucking hard to be a cop now.
Yeah.
I don't think there's ever been a time where it's been easy to be a cop.
But I don't...
And fucking ACAB, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I guess I'm not punk rock anymore. But, yeah, I think police have a very difficult job in this country.
And I think it got significantly difficult with everything going on now.
I don't think it's easier, certainly.
No. I don't think it's at its worst, but it's definitely bad.
It's probably a minority of police officers are the bad apples, so to speak.
Yep.
And they're ruining it for everybody. But the problem is, the bad apples in this situation get people killed.
Yeah.
So it has to be taken really seriously. But
absolutely.
If I was a police officer who, like you said, my dad was a cop, and I went into it because I really wanted to help people, and the good ones. There's a lot of good cops. I've met them. If I was one of those people, I would feel really hurt on a certain level, and
betrayed.
I would feel like things were really unfair because you're genuinely trying to do the right thing, and it doesn't matter because you're going to get labeled, for some people, with the deeds of a few pieces of shit. Yeah, I think it's really fucked up. I think I would, and I think that the whole robotic police officer thing is a valid thing to talk about because I don't think very many people of this generation, being a police officer doesn't exactly look like a great job right now, does it? Despite the fact it is a great job for people who are, if you're not a high school graduate or certainly not a college graduate and you want to do something where you can actually support a family, being a police officer is a valid option. But I don't think very many Gen Zers or whatever are going to want to do it. Then again, people always want to be dentists, and everyone hates them too, so. I guarantee the suicide rate among police officers has gone up in the last few years or months or years. Alex? I lose you? Alex?
Yeah.
Did I lose you?
Yes.
Are you listening?
No, you didn't.
This isn't good co-hosting. I'm docking you points.
Fucking okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. You're right.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes.
Well, what do you think?
Tough. All right. I'm just fucking with you. I didn't hear a goddamn word you said.
TLDR, being a policeman is a really hard job, and it's not glamorous at all. It seems like you're signing up for a job where people hate you, and I think I think they're already having a hiring problem, and it's probably only going to get worse as the next generation of would-be police grows up.
And the current cops, they're just counting the days till they can retire and collect their pension.
So, yeah, in that way we may be headed for robotic police.
So yes, I do agree with you.
I mean, it seems like the gig economy is just going to become the standard almost.
Yeah.
If we're not already there. And that's sort of equivalent to sharecropping, in a way, if you think about it.
How so?
Well, it leads to an economy where nobody really... Few people own things outright.
Yeah.
You have the people... It just leads to a further divide, where if you work for... So the gig economy, your options are drive Uber, deliver groceries, both of which will be replaced with robots. You can make and sell stuff, in which case you're still beholden to corporations and companies for the distribution. You know, what are some other things? Even to be, and the other jobs are tied up by the unions, like we were talking about the other day.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily all of them, but yes, I would say a big majority.
And those jobs are disappearing. There are much fewer union jobs in this country than there were previously, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Or it's just too much mayonnaise to the point where they're just standing around working, which getting paid quite a bit of money to do. And just stand around, wait for the job, supervise, watch what they're doing, plan your phone.
Too much mayonnaise?
Too much mayonnaise.
What's that phrase?
You've never heard that phrase before?
No.
Well, you know, like if you put too much mayonnaise on a sandwich, like if you put mayonnaise on your sandwich, you add it for flavor, but if you put too much on, it ruins the whole thing.
I've heard it in that context, but is that something people say with reference to the unions or whatever? I've never heard it used metaphorically.
I was just explaining myself, and apparently I did a bad job at it.
No, you may have coined a great metaphor, or a great metaphor, period. Yeah. Too much mayonnaise. Yeah. I like that. That's a good turn of phrase. I just never heard it before.
And to bring it back to this whole police thing, well, look at the firemen. I can't tell you how many firemen are also arsonists because it keeps them in business. It makes them money.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of firemen are arsonists.
This is something that you know for a fact?
Yeah.
Okay, you need to tell me more about this.
I've never seen it firsthand, but it definitely makes sense. And with everything going on with Canada and California, I can definitely see it.
Oh, how half the country is fucking burning?
Yeah.
And all the way over here, we can see the smoke. There's shit burning in California, and we can see the smoke, and it's turning the moon red. Are you talking about that shit?
The Canada stuff, yeah.
What's the Canada stuff?
The Canada fires.
There's fires in Canada?
Yeah, there's quite a few forest fires in Canada.
I thought it was too cold for fire there.
I don't know. They'll probably figure out a way somehow. Right place, right time. Right tree, maybe.
Yeah, I didn't know that there was forest fires in Canada. I thought that it was, I guess that makes more sense on how the smoke got here. But just the fact that we see smoke here from fires that are burning literally thousands of miles away.
Yeah.
It's like something out of the road.
The smoke, it's not horrid, but it's almost like a fog.
Yeah. I'm asthmatic, which you wouldn't know because I smoke like a chimney, which isn't helping. I'll probably die like Johnny Carson, choking on my own lung flesh. But, fucking, yeah, dude, when there's, the moon is red and there's smoke in the air like that, I actually get, like, kind of short of breath.
Yeah.
I'm probably not the only one, I'm sure. I don't know, maybe you could be, like, my Ben, like Tim Dillon.
Yeah.
Like, you know how he has the guy that, like, almost never talks? But you can just see him silently laughing? The thing is, it's going to have to be a video podcast to do that.
Yeah.
Are you ready to appear on video?
The first one, then it's somewhat of a prototype.
Are you down to learn how to work a board?
I'm down.
Are you down to buy the board?
buy the board completely with my money?
Yes.
Not at the moment, no.
Okay. I'll buy the board. If I buy the board, you'll learn how to use it, though?
Yeah?
And you do the board, and you sit, and I yell at you?
Yeah. Make sure both our mics are going good, everything's sound check, test.
Well, you don't even need a mic most of the time.
More than just that.
You've seen the Tim Dillon Show?
I have. Not a whole lot of it, though.
So this will be the Just Dylan Show. Not Tim Dillon.
Okay.
Just Dylan is going to hell.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I think that's a pretty good test. So this is going to be episode somewhere between 9 and 18.
Yeah.
All right. I love you, Alex.
Love you too, brother.
You really... Is there anything else you want to bring up?
I'm all set, thank you.
There's nothing else you want to talk about?
I think I'm good. To be honest, I'm exhausted. I'm kind of nodding out here.
You're not... You tried heroin?
Tried it.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
All right.
Alex Iovino's on dope. All right.
Later, dope.
I love you, baby. I'll have you on again.
You got
as my silent twink. You'll be my twink.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye. Bye. Well, there you have it, folks. 1 hour ends, another begins. This is Dylan Walsh, 4 Lazy Susans, signing off. Take care of yourselves and each other. Good night. Hello?
What up? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hello.
What's going on, Alex?
Not a whole hell of a lot.
You out singing in the rain? 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 You out singing in the rain?